Team East Coast Games here. We got Royal. What place you get and what you play?
Sadly got 6 going X1. That was kind of crazy, but you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, man playing the headed deck. Let's go. Let's go.
What you play?
I actually went back to Flu today, so we're back to Flu for today's regionals.
Any shout outs before we start?
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to all the boys. East Coast Games, we're going to have our own YouTube channel. We just started it recently, so give us a follow, get a subscribe, all that stuff. Shout out to Pat and Team Solom Circus as well. We're going to be doing a lot of like high-end Yu-Gi-Oh content, combo videos, all type of stuff coming up. So yeah, stay tuned.
Alright, let's get into that.
Alright, show what you got.
We got the boy, 3-shifter. Not actually incredibly strong in this format, but still it's a lot of decks. I think one of the main things I'd say is about Shifter is there's still a lot of interaction that I actually like put into the side thought with Shifter today, assuming I'd have it, so that went really well. Then the bird lineup. Some builds we're playing 2 toucans or 2 strees. Because cash isn't that much of a worry anymore with banishing on top of your deck. One of the bigger things is I don't think you need that many birds anymore. So they all came up obviously, but I wouldn't play more than this. The third M-Pen was also a thought, and a second continuous spell. I didn't think it was needed for this format, so I just tried it without it and went pretty well. The one-ofs are just the other birds. They rise up. Crow. This card is crazy this format. Because obviously we don't have statue. So one of the interactions, like if you're going first, this is like a good generic search. He came up versus Striker today, I got rid of Engage. Came up versus Marin Sash, came up versus Branded. They tried to get Branded from Grave, Diffusion from Grave, I banished it off Pro. So I actually highly recommend this. It is a cut target a lot of the time, but today it came up pretty clutch. The 3-ups, the pots. These are pretty obvious. You could technically play another pot, you could play Extravagance, but it's kind of bricky because you can't draw when you use cross, but you can't use both on the same turn, so not a big fan. These are pretty obvious as well. I'm maining 2 Dark Rulers, and I'm still maining, well, kind of, not still, but running through Thrust. Other Thrust targets I have, Feather Duster, Terraforming, which is disgusting. 2 Imperms, evenly, and 1 Storm. This was all really flexible. That's the benefit of, that's the kind of reason I chose this deck today, because I could kind of flex it around for what I thought was going to happen to our regionals. The kind of the crazier thing was actually when you brick and someone just ashes your Rabina or ashes your Eaglin, and you can just Thrust, go into Terraforming, and they keep playing. So that came up a lot, you know, going second. Also just kind of obvious, like Thrust into evenly, Thrust into this. Thrust into this came up a ton too, because again, if you brick, Thrust just set Storm and pass. It's another skip a turn, so that came up a ton. So this is, I wouldn't cut any of this. The only one that was iffy was Feather Duster, but there's no point cutting it because like if you're siding it, it's easily searchable anyway. So the only one I might kind of change around a bit was I did cut Book of Moons for Imperms. The thought process behind that was like if I'm going second, I want a more impact card. Especially if I played against cast, I can turn off basically anything, but the biggest thing is more the Arise. I don't know if I'm going to keep this in, but it's playable today, and also because it's a thrust target that you can just set, I think it was better than Book of Moon, but that one's kind of iffy. And then the other 2 bird cards. This you could play 2, you could even side 2 more and play 3. I know a couple people, I know Jesse, a couple people were trying this. It is in thought coming up, but we'll see from that. The side deck actually was this here, 3 Fissures. This card's disgusting. It turned off a lot of decks. I think the biggest thing it turned off today was actually versus Marinsas. I turned off his almost everything. His 2 Veilers. He didn't negate it with his with his Toad, so he couldn't use his Toad on my turn. So I wouldn't take this out at all. Technically, like, you may not need it. Sometimes it can be kind of overkill, but I think it's kind of disgusting. Also turn off Droll during your turn if you play it first. I was playing 2 Twins. The thought behind this instead of Cosmic was, Cosmic, number 1, you don't want to time, but 2, if you're assuming that you're going to run into Shifter, or you're assuming you're going to run into, you know, like Fisher, like going second, like Fisher into Twin, banishing a bird and then getting it back, you're not really negging 1 card because the bird is banished himself if it's under this or if it's under Shifter. So this was a pretty good call today. Unfortunately didn't see it against my only loss, but it is what it is. Hail to the Abyss is a thrust target. Technically good versus Marincess, technically good versus Cash. I never used it today, but you kind of want it in there for Spirally too. Thrust in Talons came up a lot. You only really want to put this in going second. I was maining it, but it's kind of dead going first because you're not really going to get hand trapped like that, and you don't really have a great draw target either. So you kind of want that going second to break boards.
Don't forget to take the pictures.
2 anti-spells. I kind of wanted to have this as a third, but it does hinder you a little bit because when you start searching all your spells on your turn, I kind of wrecked the striker player play with this, so that was kind of sad. But other than that, it's just a great card overall. The other 2 Evenlies. I was debating between this and Lightning Storm. This is more impactful. There was one time where he kept up an anti-spell where technically if it was Lightning Storm, like he would have flipped it anyway, so I think this is still the better call. And then the 2 other Feather Storms, pretty obvious going first, sometimes even going second if you don't think they're going to have a crazy board. And the last 2 cards, which have been controversial with the team, but are the 2 the 2 Reapers.
They work well today.
They didn't come up a ton. I think they only came up once today, so they might actually be cut. The team might have called this one. But the side point on Reaper was it works under all the banish effects. It just beats some decks entirely. Like the amount of times I've beaten Sprite decks would just get rid of Gigantic and they can't play. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep it in or not. Again, we'll see for Nats, but it's still pretty solid. And that leads into the extra deck, which is mostly cherry stuff. All the links, access code, seal, Marincess, that actually came up today, which is kind of crazy.
Wait, you don't tell me.
Yeah,
this is just influence.
Yeah, I was expecting to see a couple Marincess players, and I actually played one, so it did come up. So yeah, those are the link targets. Other targets are Noir, Sprite, Gigantic, Sangria.
Pretty solid.
This could also be a Rise. I think this is more impactful because a Rise you can pretty much play around with Thunder. This just kind of turns off the turn, and the zone locking doesn't come up a lot anymore, but you still don't want it to happen to. Other sides of it's just those 2. Baron is actually a good target against Runic Sprite, but I didn't play any today because they don't really have a lot that can break you down. And then that's the Sword Soul, obviously. Mirror Jade did come up today. Didn't make a big difference, but it did come up today. And then the cards that you actually play in Flu or Anima. This could kind of link you up. I don't think it ever really comes up that much, so I just wanted this in case someone misplayed. And then the Zeus package. Thanks, boys. Yep. Appreciate it. Shout out to the team. Again, we have more content coming, and stay tuned.
Appreciate. Congrats.